many years without a mainline Monster Hunter game, I can finally take a deep breath and say, at last. That is not to say I didn't enjoy World or Rise. I spent hundreds of hours in the former, and I still grab my Nintendo Switch some nights for a quick hunt. But nothing will ever beat the excitement of a new Monster Hunter game arriving. For some, Monster Hunter Wilds might look like World with a new coat of paint, but that is where you're wrong. Wilds isn't only a grander, better looking, and more immersive Monster Hunter title, it is the ultimate monster hunting experience, and Capcom has delivered it to us on a silver platter. Moving on to the gameplay aspect, players will be happy to know that every single weapon in Monster Hunter Wilds has received very significant changes compared to World or even Rise. As someone whose main weapon is Sword and Shield, I was very excited to see how responsive it was this time around. Pulling off some of the weapon's most difficult combos was much easier now. On top of that, the addition of the new focus mode makes things much easier for newcomers and even veterans of the series. Aiming at monster parts is now much easier and is actually a very important part of the gameplay. Whenever you hurt a monster, a wound will open, and the only way to break it is by using a focus strike. In the majority of cases, using this new system is quite easy. However, there were a few circumstances where I noticed that using a focus strike with specific weapons felt a bit janky. That is not to say this system is bad, but it can become a little bit frustrating in certain fights, not in all of them. But in general, the combat in Monster Hunter Wilds is one of the best in all the franchise. Another interesting thing about Monster Hunter Wilds is how it tried to combine the best things from World and Rise. As you may know, Monster Hunter World was all about being more strategical and tactical when fighting a monster. However, Monster Hunter Rise felt like a power fantasy where you could pull off some crazy moves with some of the new gadgets. Wilds leans a bit more into the former. Fighting a monster still requires you to learn its moves and mechanics. In that sense, it has more similarities to World, yet there are many things that make our characters more mobile and new combos that remind me how fast the combat of Rise was, regardless of what previous entry you like the most. Wilds is an excellent combination of the two and will appeal to every type of player. For those eager to know how big the monster lineup is, I can tell you that Monster Hunter Wilds has one of the best we have seen in many years. I cannot talk about all the monsters that you will face, but I can tell you that there are a few familiar faces that will return. On top of that, there are a few surprises that Capcom has not shown yet and will put all your skills to the test. While fighting these monsters, I was very happy to see that Monster Hunter Wilds brought many of the environmental things that we saw in Monster Hunter World. There are many traps in the area, a lot of turf wars that might happen when you're hunting, and other surprises that will make your hunts either more difficult or easier. And for those who only care about the post-campaign content, I can only say that once you reach high rank, there are many things for you to do.
Time for a true master angler to shine!
Before talking about all the gameplay aspects of Monster Hunter Wilds, I would like to talk about something that many people do not care about: the story. In short, Capcom might have delivered one of the best narratives we have seen in a Monster Hunter game. One of the reasons why the plot is so enjoyable is because it has a very old-school RPG formula. In many Monster Hunter games, the narrative goes like this: you watch a cutscene that introduces the monster, then you fight that monster and you move on to the new hunt. And while that remains a bit unchanged here in Wilds, it is the presentation that makes a huge difference. This time, we don't have a specific hub. Players will visit many of the areas in Monster Hunter Wilds to set up base camps, and by doing so, they will meet a lot of people and learn about their cultures, the dangers they're facing, and many more things. This little change made me feel that I was actually experiencing an adventure and, most importantly, a proper expedition. It was also nice to see many more characters taking the spotlight instead of just leaving it to our handler, our main character, or our palicos. And even if you're playing Monster Hunter Wilds only to grind materials and hunt big monsters, I still believe you will enjoy the story because Capcom has done an amazing job. One thing that will likely divide the player base will be the game's performance. In my case, I had the opportunity to review the game on a launch day PS5. I went with the balanced option that tried to hit 40 FPS without compromising the visuals, and frankly, it was the best experience for me. I never experienced any frame drops, and I actually felt that the visuals looked quite good. I also tried the prioritized frame rate mode, and while it tried to hit 60 FPS, I noticed a few textures didn't look so well. Still, I feel console is going to be the best way to experience Monster Hunter Wilds. Besides that, I didn't experience any bugs or glitches or anything that would ruin my experience. After years of spending time in the new world, it is finally time to bid farewell to it and jump into Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter World gave me some of the best moments I've had in the series. Its monsters, events, crossovers, and many co-op hunts are the things that I will remember fondly. However, the high bar that Capcom is setting for Wilds will make World look like a thing of the past. I never thought that a new Monster Hunter entry would surpass the 2018 classic, but here we are. The story is much better this time around. and the lineup of monsters is the most amazing we've seen in recent years. And the best thing about this is that Monster Hunter Wilds is just starting. If history has taught us anything, is that these games have a very long life. With the new gameplay additions, excellent monster lineup, and the most amazing areas we have seen in the series, Monster Hunter Wilds is a hunter's dream, and for that reason, we scored the game with a 10 out of 10. For more reviews and game-related things, do not forget to like and subscribe and visit thenerdstash.com.